Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Rishabh. You look very impressive with the suit and tie and all that. Very good.
Thank you,
So,
sir.
Rishabh, tell us briefly about yourself.
So I'm Rishabh Kumar Rewar. I'm
Hmm.
from Jaipur, Rajasthan. I did
Hmm.
my graduation in BTech in Civil Engineering from IIT
Oh,
Delhi from
very
the
good.
batch of 2020.
Hmm.
And since my early childhood, I've lived in many places due to frequent transfers in my father's job. So
Hmm.
somewhere in between, I've developed an interest in traveling, exploring new cultures, meeting new people. I'm also interested in quizzing and weight training.
Uh-huh. And you passed out in which year?
So,
BTech?
2020,
2000. Oh, you're a very young
last
man.
last year.
This is the very first attempt you have made it, is it?
Yes,
This is the first
fortunately.
attempt?
Yes,
Very good. You are civil engineering from Delhi IIT, right?
yes, sir.
Yeah. Are you keeping track of developments in IIT Delhi?
Yes, sir.
Huh? So, what I'm going to tell you or ask you is one very leading professor in civil engineering passed away recently because of COVID. Do you know his name?
Sorry, sir. I don't
Iyer.
know.
One Iyer. He was Dean of Infrastructure. He was into very many, almost all the buildings of IIT Delhi, it seems, were designed. That's what the newspaper says. Anyway, that's a minor thing. Which aspect of civil engineering fascinated you most?
So, of the many subjects we learned in civil engineering, the environmental part of the civil
Environmental
engineering
part.
fascinated
Oh,
me.
very good. Uh-huh. So the structure obviously is a very important aspect of environment also.
Yes, sir.
Am I right? Uh,
Yes, sir.
Good. See, when we see our civil engineers, especially constructing railways in particular, in Jammu and Kashmir and all, huh? What do you think of that? What sort of technology, etc., were used in Jammu and Kashmir in particular? You have any idea?
Yes, sir.
The bridges and all that they had to do. Hmm.
So recently, the Chenab Bridge in Jammu and Kashmir was finished, and it is one of the is the world's highest railway bridge. It is
Yeah.
even higher than the Eiffel Tower.
Hmm.
And many of the technologies that were used were that it's an arc bridge, and along with that the foundation of the pillars in the bridge were made so as to resist the seismic disturbances in the region, since it's an earthquake prone zone. So, and along with that, it was there was also security angle that was kept in mind, because it's a terrorism prone area as well. So the columns or the pillars that were made can resist. I'm not exactly sure of the number, around 45 tons of TNT, around that number. Along with that, since it's also very high bridge, the wind loads in the region are also an important factor that were considered. So a lot of engineering was done so that the project could have been completed.
Very good. That's very impressive. Uh, so this, I mean, you are not worked. Obviously, you are just passed out and then appeared for this thing. You never thought of going in for private jobs?
Not really, because it was in third
Hmm.
year when I was when I thought of going for civil services
But
as my
why
career.
this? I don't want to use the word craze, but why this so much liking for civil service? What is there for you as a civil engineer?
So personally, for me, I believe that civil services provides me the perfect conjunction of job satisfaction, because I'll be working for something that's greater than myself, that goes beyond my needs. Along with that, there's a lot of diversity in the work as and challenges, so I'll have an opportunity for myself to grow. And being a civil engineer, I believe I'll be able to use the knowledge and skills during my course of civil engineering in becoming a better civil servant as well.
Very good. Okay, just one or two very minor things. What are the different types of bricks which are used normally?
So there's the normal clay heated bricks that we use, and there are recently fly ash bricks are also being used, and there are concrete bricks that are also often used. I'm only aware of these
The
types.
hollow bricks also, no?
Yes, sir.
What is the hollow bricks?
So hollow bricks, usually the concrete bricks are the ones that are often hollow because they have the strength and they are lightweight as well. So while they are being used in construction, the dead load in the project is very low and they have the requisite strength.
Good. You said fly ash bricks also, you said, right?
Yes.
Now, how does one transport fly ash?
So I'm not exactly sure.
Come on,
Of
think
the
for a minute.
process.
You are an engineer. Eh? Slurry. You convert it into a slurry and then transport it to the place of manufacture of bricks. That is
Thank
the
you, sir.
way it has to be done. Okay. What are your hobbies? You said cricket. No.
No, sir. So I am interested in traveling, weight training,
Oh,
quizzing, and
acha,
reading Calvin and Hobbes comics.
acha, good. Traveling. Where all you have been? You said your father was posted in various places.
Yes,
So
sir.
where all where you go?
So I was born in Goa and
Huh,
I was there for only 1 year.
huh.
And then we moved to Muscat in Oman
Oh,
for 3
Muscat,
years.
foreign posting. Huh.
Yes, sir.
And
My father
then,
was in the Indian Navy at that time.
oh,
And
acha,
then
you was in the Indian Navy. Okay.
we came to Mumbai and then Jaipur, and we've been staying in Jaipur since then.
Okay, that's how. But you didn't travel to South. You said you are fond of traveling and all that. South, you never went.
Yes, sir. Unfortunately, most of the travels that I've done in my college time were on weekend trips from Delhi itself, and I couldn't get the time to travel to South India. However, it is in my bucket list.
And the Northeast, you have been to any part of Northeast?
No, sir, not yet, but
No, not
I
yet.
plan on going there.
So you haven't traveled much. Huh?
Sir,
Going to
recently,
Goa or Rajasthan is not enough for a
sir,
vast country like India.
yes,
Eh?
sir. So during my college days, I have traveled the Himachal Pradesh and Uttarakhand region, and I recently visited Dubai as well in February of 2021.
Okay. Now, Dubai, when you visited there, did you look at it as a civil engineer, the buildings and the architecture?
Yes, sir.
Huh? So, don't you think it's amazing?
Yes, sir, it's very amazing.
It's amazing. Okay, you belong to Rajasthan, right?
Yes, sir.
Huh? You are stayed in Rajasthan. Which are the district in Rajasthan with the international border?
So from the north, Sri Ganganagar, then uh, Jaisalmer, uh, Bikaner, Jaisalmer, and Badmer.
These are the four. Okay, thank you. Sharma ji?
Thank you, sir.
Thanks.
Hello. Yeah. Is it audible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Oh,
What do you mean by greenhouse gases?
So greenhouse gases refer to a variety of gases that lead to a greenhouse effect. For example, they have a warming effect on the earth and they trap the outgoing sun rays which are reflected from the surface of the earth and heat the earth.
Is greenhouse effect a necessary evil?
So we shouldn't say it's an evil, but it's not necessary because
greenhouse effect. I'm not talking about enhanced greenhouse effect. I'm talking about greenhouse effect.
Yes, sir. So greenhouse effect also has its merits because it is due to greenhouse effect that there's heat that is trapped in the earth and not all of it is lost to the space,
and which makes the life possible on earth.
And it makes
so greenhouse effect is necessary. Now come to enhanced greenhouse effect. What is that?
So it is when the natural balance of greenhouse effect is disturbed and it is increased due to anthropogenic emissions.
Okay. Green building. What do you mean by green building?
So green building is a type of building that takes into account the long-term environmental effects of the building while construction. So the designing, the construction, the post-construction functioning of the building, all of them have an environmental angle to it.
How will you make a building earthquake resistant?
So there are multiple ways that a building can be made earthquake resistance. And for instance, if a building is being made from scratch, while designing, the IS 1893 code specifies certain provisions that can be undertaken. One provision is to have a flexible and a floating foundation, wherein the substructure is detached from the superstructure. So when there are vibrations, those are not transferred to the building. There are pendulum dampeners that are often used in the building so as to absorb the vibrations and protect the building from damage. And along with that, there are other traditional ways as well. Using lightweight material while construction, using ductile material, using wood in construction is also some of the measures that are undertaken.
Recently, a ministry has been, new ministry has been constituted, that is Ministry of Cooperation.
Yes.
What will be its function? Ministry of Cooperation.
So it aims to provide support to the cooperative movement in India. And it'll help in enhancing the and supporting the cooperatives throughout all different sectors.
Okay, who is CDS?
So CDS refers to the Chief of Defense Staff. It was a post recently made 2 years back as a single point advisor of the military, and he also heads the the Department of Military Affairs, and he provides as a joint forum wherein the different branches, different wings of the military can give their inputs, and he can further give them to the civilian defense administration.
Who is CDS at present?
So General Bipin Rawat.
General Bipin. Bharatmala, Sagarmala. Tell me in brief what exactly these are and what is the progress made so far.
So Bharatmala and Sagarmala both are ambitious infrastructure projects in the country, and there are umbrella projects. Bharatmala firstly is a project that aims to enhance the capacity of national highways as well as expand the national highway network in the country. And there's a special focus on the Northeast Indian region as well. And there are other components of it wherein the railway crossing, there are bridges to be made on railway crossing, etc. The Sagarmala is largely a port-led development project wherein various major ports of the country their capacity will be enhanced. There'll be port-led industrialization around the port-led community development. There's a coastal economic region that is also to be developed around these ports. So these are the main objectives. And as per the progress, I'm not exactly sure of the numbers. However, Bharatmala, as far as I can recall, there was significant progress. However, I'm not exactly aware of the numbers.
Okay, President Biden, while talking to an aerospace engineer, Swati Mohan said that Indian Americans have taken over United States. On what ground he said like that? President Biden, while talking to Swati Mohan, who is an aerospace engineer, said that Indian Americans have taken over United States. On what ground he said like that?
So as per my understanding, I believe the statement was made in reference to the various number of high positions in various companies of US that are held by Indians. And
can you name some important assignments, important posts which are being held by the Indian Americans? Can you name some?
Yes, sir. So Satya Nadella is the CEO of Microsoft. And
very important, starting from very important post.
So the Vice President of
Vice
United
President.
States.
Yeah, what is her name?
So Mrs. Kamala Harris.
Who else? There are about 55 persons who are Indian Americans holding very prestigious posts there. That's why he said like that. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, Rishabh, good afternoon. How are you?
Good afternoon, sir. I'm good, sir. Thank you.
Okay. What is this surname Revar? Where does it come from?
So the surname Revar comes from the fact that our ancestors came from the place of Rewari in Haryana, and therefore the name Rewar,
And
surname
what is
Rewar.
the meaning of the first word, Rishabh?
Sir, Rishabh has multiple meanings. Uh, the one of which is morality, and Rishabh is also used in the context of the name of a bull, Vrushab, and Rishabh Dev was also the first name of the first Jain Tirthankara, Mahadev Rishabji, Rishabnath.
And Rishabh is also name of the Indian cricketer and the wicket keeper.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Actually, okay, tell me one thing. You said your father was in Indian Navy,
Yes, sir.
but your form says that your father, was deputy manager in SBI. What is this?
So he was in the Indian Navy, then he retired, and then he joined the State Bank of India, and is currently as a deputy manager in the State Bank of India.
Oh, he's working currently.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Very good. Okay. That's very good. Somewhere you have mentioned that you manage some negotiation table.
Yes, sir.
If I say you explain to me what is the art of negotiation, if you are negotiating on behalf of India, what do you keep in mind? What two, three, four qualities a good negotiator would require? You see.
So the art of negotiation is when we deal with some other party so as to get our so as to obtain our objectives in a harmonious way. And some of the qualities that a good negotiator should have is firstly that a good negotiator should be well aware of the subject on which the negotiation is on. She should have sufficient knowledge. Second, along with knowledge of the subject, he should be. It's great if he has the knowledge of the other party as well. What are their interests? What do they want? Where do they draw the line? After which they'll be satisfied. Second is that a good negotiator should also be a good communicator. Apart from verbal communication, he should also be focusing on non-verbal forms of communication, and and also to communicate non-verbally. And third quality I believe that a good negotiator should have is to be patient, because many a times negotiations are a test of patience between both the parties who admits a certain condition first. I think these qualities are required in a negotiator.
Okay, good. Isha, will it be okay to conclude that you have a rather low opinion about police service and policing in India?
No, sir, I don't think that's the correct
But your
assumption.
order of preferences, gives that message to me. You see.
So I placed police service as my fifth preference, and I believe it's a wonderful service, and it will provide me a huge scope of exposure. And if given an opportunity to serve in the police service, I'll be happy to serve there. However, I believe that I'll be a better fit in the four services I filled above that, and that's why I made that decision. However, I have a very good opinion of the police
And which
service.
is your first preference?
So Indian Foreign Service.
Foreign service. And why foreign service? And why not IAS? You see, why not remain in the country, go to the district, go to the subdivision, go to the panchayat, and then work with the people over there, work with the people who are disadvantaged, marginalized, and all that. You see.
So the reason for me choosing Indian Foreign Service is not because I don't want to stay in India or don't want to work at the ground. I would definitely like to do that as well if I am given the opportunity to serve in the administrative service. My reasons for joining IFS was multiple reasons, both on the professional and personal front. Firstly, I believe that it will be an honor to represent India in multilateral fora and in different countries, and to have a ringside view of the rise of India in the global order in the future. And I'm also interested in international relations, so I believe it was a good choice for me. And on the personal front, when I was a child, my father was posted in the Embassy of India in Muscat, and I lived there with them. And I think my seeds of interest in Indian Foreign Service were sown then. And I'm also interested in traveling and exploring new cultures. So I thought I'll be able to pursue this interest in the Indian Foreign Service as well.
But then foreign service also involves a lot of risk. Suppose you are posted in Afghanistan, you are posted in China, or Yemen, very hostile environment, violent environment. How do you cope with that kind of situation?
So I'm definitely willing to take the risks because these environments and these countries have their own set of challenges and provide an own set of experiences through which a person can learn a lot. And as I'm in the Indian Foreign Service, and it is my duty to post to work and to be posted where I'm being posted to. So I'll be happy to serve there as well.
Okay. Thank you, Rishabh. Very good talking to you. Back to
Thank you,
the
sir.
chairman, sir.
Yeah. Rishabh, hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I find you are a very good candidate. Today's interview has been excellent. I'll put it between 70 to 75. I don't know, my colleagues may agree. Now, there are a couple of things for you. Foreign service is fine. But tell me, what is the real secret of a successful foreign service officer? What is required to be really excellent in this, excel in that job? What is required?
So I believe one should be very adaptable to different circumstances and different conditions and different
That
environments.
is there,
Because
of course. No, I thought what is important is to keep your ears and eyes open and mouth shut to the extent possible. Speak less, gather more information, look around more. That's it.
thank you, sir.
Anyway, you had to learn one foreign language. Which one would you choose and why?
So I would choose, if I had to choose one, I would choose Mandarin.
Mandarin, very specific. Okay, why? Why Mandarin? Good, but why?
Sir, I believe that our relationship with China is and would be the most important relationship in the mid to near to midterm future. And currently, in many international relation circles, it's believed that we don't understand a lot about China. And I believe that I would be able to contribute a bit if I know the language and I understand their culture and their way of thinking. And therefore, I want to learn that language.
Very good. Now, when is your interview?
So 20th of August.
20th of August. You
Yes.
still have almost a month or more. So, what papers are you reading?
So Indian Express and Times of India.
Okay, Indian Express, fine. Times of India, time permits, read. But what I would recommend is read Economist, London Economist, because you want to be in foreign service, and foreign service is your number one preference. So if you can read Economist, New York Times, fine. But at least Economist, a library or somewhere you can go. It's otherwise very expensive. Just says, you can otherwise also get it on the internet, I think. Anyway, read Economist. And you are from Rajasthan, right?
Yes, sir.
So read Rajasthan Patrika for local and economic issues. They cover some aspect of economy also. So do that, and with confidence. Once in a while, if you don't know, you say, I don't know. Nothing wrong, especially on facts and figures. If they want precise answer, you can say that. That's the intellectual honesty will come out. There is nothing wrong. So do that. And you are very well dressed and very well exposed. Very good. Maintain this. Read and take 1 or 2 more mocks at the interval of 10 to 12 days. Okay. But be selective, wherever you want to. Okay. Good.
Yes.
All the best. Sinatha?
Thank you, sir.
Do you have any questions to ask?
Yeah.
So I had one question that in the past mocks I've got this feedback that many times my answers are a bit too lengthy. Was this the case this time? Because I tried to be a bit short.
Well, I don't think the answers were lengthy. I found it to be quite okay. And I personally would give you a very good assessment for today, 70 plus, definitely.
Yeah.
And I feel you are just fit to, practically fit to walk into the Indian
Yes.
Civil Services, yes. Indian Foreign Service, hopefully, yes.
Yeah. I agree entirely with him.
Yeah, I think you have done very well.
Yeah, very well.
Just a couple of comments to see. Maybe they are not needed. You have been a brilliant student. I find that you got National Talent Search Examination, etc., all those things. So, very good, brilliant background. Now, you see DF 1 and 2, both these forms, are very, very important, And whatever is written, each and every word of that can be a basis for, several minutes of discussion, you see. So kindly, earmark those words which are on your DAF, and questions you can always expect which are based on that, you see. They're bound to be there, because whether it is your name or your place where you were born or your father or your education or your hobbies, all these things. Okay. And that is as far as your own background is concerned. Second, of course, the current affairs, which can become formulas to vaccine diplomacy, to what is happening to US withdrawal in Afghanistan, to anything under the sun. As far as the contemporary affairs are concerned, current affairs, it's very difficult to define this whole range of things. You only have to be alert, and keep up to date. As far as the interview is concerned, remember that it is a personality test, it's not a knowledge test. So, you come out strong on your personality like you have done today, and I think you should be through.
Thank you, sir.
God bless. Yeah.
One thing I just want to add. Hello. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Try to read a book by one of the ex-foreign service officer from Rajasthan, like this
Natwar Singh or something.
Natwar Singh, then Mangat Rai, those days, Ian Mangat Rai. Natwar Singh will be more recent, and he was the minister also. I mean, his book, you can just have a look at it. Just do that.
Yes, sir.
Sorry. Sharma ji?
Mr. Rishabh.
Yes.
Mr. Rishabh.
Yes, sir.
Is it audible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Mr. Rishabh. I also have the same opinion as the chairman, sir, and Sinha sir have said. That is, you are very confident. Body language is okay. Your answers were very precise and concise. They were not lengthy at all. They might have been at that time when you were giving your mock interview elsewhere. But at least for today, these were very precise and concise. Related with that very question, that Indian Americans have taken over United States. So Swati Mohan, in addition to Vice President Kamala Harris, Swati Mohan is aerospace engineer who was responsible for landing NASA's rover over Mars. Then Vinay Reddy, speechwriter, Vivek Murthy, Surgeon General, Vanita Gupta, Associate Attorney General. Then Arun Venkatraman, Director General, United States and Foreign Commercial Services. So many, about 55 in number, are in his team. That's why he said like that. And this has happened for the first time. That is starting from Vice President. So many others are there in his team. So I wish you all the best. I think you will do very well in your UPSC interview and you will get through. All the best.
Thank you, sir.
All the best. Yeah. Very good.
Thank you so much.
You can leave
Thank
the
you.